for attending today's webinar titled the NVIDIA Omniverse Enterprise Maximizing Productivity with Real-Time Collaboration. Before we begin, I want to cover a few housekeeping items. At the bottom of your audience console, there are multiple application widgets you can use. If you have any questions during the webinar, you can submit your questions in the Q&A box, and they will be answered at the end of the presentation. You can also expand your slide area by clicking on the Maximize icon on the top right of the slide viewer. If you have any technical difficulties, please click the Help widget. And if you can please take a moment to fill out the survey at the end of the webinar, that would be great. I'm now going to hand the deck over to our speaker, Jesse. Thank you. Enjoy your webinar.
Thank you, Rachel. Good to be here with everybody today. We're excited to present a great opportunity to expand your workflows and improve your workflows. We at HP are heavily engaged with trying to improve the way that our customers can improve their experience every day and add value. So my name is Jesse Walker. I'm a program manager for HP. I'm part of ACS, Advanced Compute Solutions. We work on workstations for Z and also some retail solutions, among others. We also have Michael Kaplan with us today. He's representing NVIDIA. And then we also have Paul Austin, who's representing Teradici. And so each of them will present some information a little later. So the agenda, a joint solution, why are we working as a team here? I'll go through some of what Z is doing, Teradici CAS, NVIDIA Omniverse, and then an exclusive offer of this joint solution. So as I mentioned, we're at HP, we're really heavily engaged with customers, really understanding what their workflows are, and we want to add value in any way we can. So, NVIDIA has come to us with NVIDIA. This is a great opportunity to, expand on ways to collaborate, accelerate the way that you're working with all of your teammates and just transforming the way that you get things done and making it more efficient. With performance, Z is, really, adding great workstations to allow you to do amazing things for all of your software needs. And then with security, we also have HP is well renowned for security. And then with Teradici, they also are very well known for their security and their protocols. So these three components, Z has the wonderful workstations, both desktop and mobile workstations. Teradici is really providing the connection. It's allowing those customers to access workstations from anywhere. And you could be working at home and accessing your workstations from the office or doing something in the cloud. And then Omniverse is really providing this new solution to collaborate using third-party software and pulling all that together into this great opportunity for a single solution with these three parties. So on the workstation side, HP has a number of different options. For utilizing NVIDIA, you really require a lot of GPU. And on the Z side, we have both Z works, the laptops that have the GPU that's really required. And then we also have expandable all the way up to your ZH, which is allowing for multiple GPUs and has a lot of expanding capabilities. And then we also have on the bottom of the slide, a diverse selection depending on what your needs are. We also have a great selection of workstations which can be racked. So as you can see here, we have the Z Central 4R. This was specifically made for racking workstations, being able to have basically an on-site data center. But we also have options for having the Z4 and Z6. These are also capable to be racked. And allow you to even add to your security by not having to access or sending workstations home to someone. Then jumping into how this all works together, transforming that workflow. A wonderful thing about Teradici is actually even Z. We have Z Central Remote Boost, which we've been expanding on for many years. HP has recently acquired Teradici, so it's now part of HP. And the reason that HP and Teradici has been going on this path is because of the great opportunities to allow for changing those workflows, allowing teams to work from any location and being able to access centrally located devices and doing those workflows. And then on top of it, adding in NVIDIA, where you're allowing each of those systems to be able to modify the same files. So that's a general overview. I'm going to go ahead and jump over to Paul, and he'll go into the details of Teradici CAS.
Oh, hey, you anticipated me. Hey, thanks a lot, Jesse, and hello, everyone. I'm Paul Austin, and I'm Worldwide Head of Channel Sales for Teradici. As Jesse mentioned, HP acquired Teradici in what we have all come to regard, and the industry has come to regard, as a fantastic complementary offering. Our focus on end-user compute and delivering a truly no-compromise user experience, both in the Z software stack as well as in the Teradici CAS software stack, is going to mean incredible things for any artist, designer, creative, post-production person, civil engineer, architect. In short, you might recognize yourself, or you might recognize one of these profiles as being applicable to you. Computationally intensive, graphically intensive workloads, you bet. We check all of those boxes. And we do it with CAS. CAS is Teradici's proprietary cloud access software, which is a complete end-to-end solution based on software that comprises an agent, a client, and a remoting protocol and a management plane. It's built on our proprietary PC over IP technology stack. And really what it does is everything that you need it to. It delivers a truly secure, truly highly performant experience. And this really comes down to the user experience. When it comes to remotely accessing a workload, certain things are really critical. Performance is absolutely one of them. Also, the nature of the experience. We want to ensure that you're delivering and you're receiving this truly workstation-like experience. The old days before the world really changed, the workstation sat underneath the desk, or it sat in an editing bay, something that was physically close proximity to the user. Now we make it possible by combining all the components that you're going to hear about today to take and have terrific compute hardware, terrific collaboration capabilities so that teams can work together. And then we provide the ability to effectively take those teams, take their collaboration, powered by that hardware, and then deliver through streaming the ability to access that workload where it sits someplace remotely, securely, and we can truly access it from anywhere. So a little bit about why Teradici CAS. Again, we really kind of focus on some very key themes. I've already talked about the user experience. One thing I haven't talked about as much is security. Security is something that everybody is focused on. Ensuring that your valuable IP is safeguarded and protected. We do it three ways. We have an architecture that consists of encoding at the data center where those pixels are transmitted securely and in an encrypted fashion. And then the client itself, whether it's software or firmware-based bespoke devices, decrypts and decodes. So it's an extremely secure architecture. It's also very easy to deploy. It's lightweight, includes a management plane, includes secure gateway components, pretty much everything that you need to get up and running. Because we recognize that, again, going back to security, we recognize that it's important to be secure, but also to have the ability to adopt it quickly and not have long and complex learning curves to tackle. So this is a solution that's really optimized to be deployed by the SMB space, but it's certainly powerful enough to be deployed within many of the global 500 customers. And then finally, flexibility. Because it's software, it's completely agnostic to the platform. So we can work across a variety of different platforms from a hosting perspective, from a client perspective, and we're able to help you really maximize your investments. One thing that we do really well, and we always have, even prior to the acquisition, is we build a terrific ecosystem of technology partners. And so you hear, for example of how, and even prior to the integration with HP, when HP acquired Teradici, there was a really great ecosystem partnership there because of the workstations, because of the focus on end user compute, and that same relentless focus on the user experience. Similarly, with NVIDIA, we've had a long-standing relationship around leveraging the power that's delivered by the NVIDIA GPUs and the software solutions to these really highly demanding user constituencies. We want to ensure that we're able to provide that workstation class experience regardless of where the worker actually is. Work is an activity, not so much a destination. And we bring the workload to the worker through this partnership. And the way it works, like I say, very simple and straightforward. Architecturally, you have three components. You have the host component, or the sender, which is any on-prem workstation, a direct connection to a workstation, virtualized workstations, on-prem, private cloud, public cloud, or some kind of a hybrid approach. On the client side, it could be any endpoint. It could be the family's PC. One of the things that we learned during the pandemic was that many workers were simply sent home by their IT departments and really left to fend for themselves while the IT department scrambled to get them hardware. As a result, we've really experienced a surge in the number of people who understand better the consequences of trying to access a remotely hosted workflow. And then finally, it's the encrypted pixels. It is the PC over IP protocol, PC, personal computer over IP, Internet Protocol. And the protocol is literally just encrypted pixels being transmitted between the host and the receiver. We also provide for an administrator's pane of glass that we call CAS Manager. So it is truly an end-to-end solution, and it works, well, as we say, it just works. A little bit about why our protocol has the kind of leadership that allows me to make really bold statements like no compromise user experience. And it really stems, again, from a focus on the user experience, the build to lossless nature of our image quality. If you've ever been watching Netflix and your network fluctuates a little bit, maybe somebody else in the house is also watching Netflix or some of the other streamers at the same time, or perhaps, God forbid, trying to work from home, you might notice a little bit of fluctuation in the quality, and then all of a sudden it snaps too. That's kind of what we do, except it's much faster. It's almost imperceptible to the user. And what it means is that the remote experience that you're getting, even if the workload that you're accessing is thousands of miles away, text is clean and sharp, wireframes are very crisp and without any kind of deformation, colors accurate. Again, it really just comes down to fidelity on any network because our protocol is truly adaptive. And then a little bit about our encoder. Our encoder is extremely efficient because what it allows us to do is really effectively share all of the underlying hardware of those processor cores. So we're able to get a really terrific performance that enables us to deliver these truly high fidelity multi-megabit experiences for users, particularly if you're doing things like linear video editing, or if you're doing something in the AEC space, you're a civil engineer, you're an architect, and you need to be able to rotate a part or show a client a building or show a very specific aspect of your design and have them have that sort of moving around experience provide the shading. All of that is very demanding on the underlying cores for the CPU, and our encoder works very well to deliver that without any kind of glitches or anything. We talked about security, so I won't really bang on about that. That is the bedrock of what we do. Everything stems from the basis of security. But the final piece I want to call out on the protocol leadership side is the way that we work, again, another ecosystem partnership with Wacom. Wacom provides for peripheral devices like tablets that are incredibly important in delivering that natural media feel that as the artist, as the engineer, as the architect is using that stylus as their input device, they want it to be truly responsive. And our technology solutions really enable that experience regardless of the location of the workload. So one thing I'm going to do before I hand it over to Michael is I'm just going to talk a little bit about something that we already know, which is that the workforce has undeniably changed. Ever since the pandemic, we know that we're not putting the genie back in the bottle. And we know that people and offices and businesses have had to evolve. It was a bit of a whisper to a scream, honestly, overnight. And as offices and office cultures are continuing to evolve, we realize that there's going to be a persistence of the need for remote work as well as office work. So solutions that provide for both of them are the kind of solutions that HP is particularly interested in bringing to our customers. It's our focus on the heart of the hybrid is really what it comes down to. And we recognize that the technologies for delivering that hybrid workforce are being rapidly developed. Guess what? We're already here. This is something where we already have that degree of pedigree, and you can capitalize on that experience. Because firewalls and VPNs, as a security measure, they're just really no longer cutting it for the number of people that are now needing to work remotely. So with that in mind, we are happy to introduce HP Anywhere. So Teradici CAS and zCentral Remote Boost, both of those products, world-class products in their own right. Emmy award-winning remoting solutions recognized by the Television Academy during the height of the pandemic. For Teradici CAS, it was around performance and flexibility, and you've heard me say security, so I'll say it one more time. zCentral Remote Boost, really a terrific complementary suite that focused on the underlying hardware. It gave the kind of collaboration features, the machine sharing features, and the usability features that the most demanding users are looking for. We're combining those products, we're combining their product roadmaps into HP Anywhere, which will launch in July of 2022 around 4 key themes: flexibility, security, collaboration, and productivity. A little bit of a double click into this. I'm not going to read the entire slide because I think it's getting to be time for me to pass the mic to Mike, but there's a real focus on the benefits to both IT constituents as well as user constituencies. And you'll probably recognize yourself in one of these camps. If you're looking for security, you're looking for manageability, you're probably in the IT camp. You really have to be able to manage those assets. Does it fit into your overall or architectural governance model? How do you support your users? If you're a user, you're interested in just the opposite kinds of things. You're really looking for the ability to be productive. You want to go fast. So you're looking for flexibility. You're looking for agility. HP Anywhere will address both of those needs, and that right quickly. So just a real quick one before I hand it off. This is just a forward-looking set of bullet here. The first release, we will call 2207 because it's July of the year 2022, is going to be based on CAS, and the licensing platform is going to be released commercially. 2207 is going to include some of the new collaboration features. Right? So I just showed you here. We're going to have that. So we're blending these two, and we're producing Anywhere. And I apologize if the screen's repainting a little bit slowly. Just wanted to go back and highlight that. If you're already a CAS subscriber, all you need to do is update your clients and agents, and you can start using Anywhere. If you're a zCentral customer and you have the Teradici Signal subscription already, you already have access to the beta software. So this is really about the roadmap and how those products are going to be rolled out. A lot of this stuff is under NDA and CDA, so we can't share everything with you just now, but this is just a quick sneak preview of the new look of Teradici CAS and how excited we are to be part of the HP family. And we look forward to bringing you the heart of hybrid experience. So with that, I'm going to pass it over to you, Mike.
Awesome. Thank you so much. So thanks, everybody. My name is Michael Kaplan. I wear two hats at NVIDIA. I'm the Director of Global Business Development for Media and Entertainment. And about 6 months ago, I moved, or sort of had a foot in the Omniverse camp, and I head up our global segment sales world for Omniverse Enterprise. I've been in NVIDIA for almost 12 years, and I know this sort of sounds like a line, but I don't know that I've ever been as excited about a product and technology introduction as I am now with Omniverse. So I'll be with you for a little bit now, so pay attention as we move forward. But I just want to say thanks to Insight, thanks to HP. I'm really happy that I have the opportunity to speak with everybody today. So the first thing, Omniverse actually, it's been in the works for a while. We introduced it and it started shipping about 6 months ago. But some people still say, well, what is it? So really, it's an end-to-end 3D design, collaboration, and simulation platform. The platform concept is huge because there's so many great development methods and tools within Omniverse that don't really think of it as an application, think of it as a platform. We work with many, many third parties. It's sort of a combination of best of breed together, and that's really what it is. We're not removing any partnerships with anybody. We're enhancing what you do currently with third-party software companies today. So in the beginning, I'll be honest, we kind of introduced it thinking that it is a 3D design tool or it's a digital twin tool. And to be honest, as we've matured and we've sort of understood a little bit better as early customers have started to adopt it, it's sort of that's a seamless path. It's a trajectory. Whether you begin on the right side for digital twin type use cases, whether it's factory planning, digital human, you do require CG assets, and you do have to do some design that you will eventually bring into the twin. On the design side, whether it's factory CAD, robotics, it could be media entertainment, architecture, engineering, construction, and operations, everything feeds into what this end-to-end solution is for Omniverse. In the middle, as you see here on the bottom, all the things that NVIDIA brings to the market, whether it's physics, artificial intelligence, materials and path tracing, ray tracing, all of this is infused into the Omniverse solution stack, and we're definitely excited to bring it to the market to many, many different industries. So this is just an example of sort of in an architecture or design concept, you see an actual application on the right-hand side. And today, based on what you're using, it could be fairly rudimentary. You don't really see things as what the final image might be. But within Omniverse, just with a few clicks on the left-hand side, you can start to see what would this look like in a photoreal situation. Now, again, you're trying to get designs done. You might be doing client work. And on the right, the client just may not really have the perspective as what does it need to do. Or even the designers within an organization may not understand what the final look needs to be. But again, with the lighting and the way that Omniverse reiterates super quickly, you're able to get a lot of great work done looking like what the image does on the left in the same amount of time that it takes to do the right. So that's what we're excited about, and that's what customers are excited about, because they have a chance to see everything in full fidelity and full visualization of what the end goal is going to need to look like. So I'm really not going to go over this slide, but when the seminar's over, please, get in touch with NVIDIA, get in touch with HP. Every one of our early customers, and even before it was being sold, the early adopters that helped us finalize the product, we have legitimate ROI case studies for all of these 4 major bullet points. So it's really not just a PowerPoint slide, although today it is. But if you really want to hear from customers and understand what did it mean to reduce costs and waste, what's that all about? We got a great piece from WPP that really goes in depth of what this is all about. Same type of thing for increasing value of the current infrastructure. A lot of media entertainment companies and manufacturing companies can talk to this all the way down the line, maximizing creativity and productivity. and accelerating time for production. So like, I'm confident to say that this goes beyond just slideware, and we really get into legitimate customer examples. And again, in time, connect with us. And if any one of these things seems to be an important fact that you want to try to drive towards yourself and your company, let us know and we'll give you examples without a doubt. I want to kind of go baseline a little bit of what are some of the building blocks within Omniverse. There's sort of 5 components that base and make up what we do. The first, I'll go left to right. Nucleus is sort of like it's like the brains of this whole platform. It understands where files are being moved. It understands what changes are being made from every user and designer, and it keeps track and keeps up to date every piece of progress on an asset. The next one, Connect. This is the way we sort of bring in many third-party ISV applications into the world of Omniverse. Connectors, what we call them, the ability to connect, can be written by the ISV. Some can be written from ourselves, and even third-party developers that we're starting to build up can also do these type of connections for us. The middle, I think this is so valuable, but we may not market it that much. It's something called Kit. This is the development platform that lets users or integrators start to write microservices, do some Python scripting to really enhance the capabilities of Omniverse. If what we send out as an Omniverse sort of piece of software, if it does not do everything that an end user needs it to do and it needs to get a little bit more customized, Kit's the way to do it. Sort of the diamond in the rough, so powerful. And even the applications that we've written to be part of the Omniverse Enterprise solution, we wrote in Kit. Good information. Simulation, another great factoid. So robotics and all the things that need to happen in sort of a digital twin or a digital warehouse, simulation and that capability that we bring to the table is super important. And then finally, RTX Renderer. We've built a very super fast render piece of software. We're very industry supportive. So in some companies, you may never want to get away from the renderer that you use today, and that's okay. With something that we call Hydra Delegates, you can bring in any third-party render into Omniverse if that's what you choose to use, and that's okay. What I find and what we have found is that based on the speed of real-time ray tracing and path tracing, if you're sort of elegant enough from a visualization standpoint, I do believe customers, you're going to start to take advantage of this, and you will eventually figure out how do you use this in addition to the typical render pieces of software you incorporate today. So exciting stuff that makes up what Omniverse is. Another little baseline, how's it made? Omniverse is based on Universal Scene Description, or USD. Within the media and entertainment market, people do know USD, and I'd be surprised when we have conversations if the company doesn't say, well, actually, we're moving our pipeline to USD. But in some markets, it might still be new. So think of it as like the HTML of 3D virtual worlds. Or maybe if your companies, if you're starting to think like, what's our metaverse strategy? Think of this as like the plumbing for the metaverse. And this was developed by Pixar. It's an open standard. And what we're doing is we're just taking it and trying to enhance it, but then we move it back into the main branch. We're not going out on our own. If we fork something, we bring it back into USD open source. And again, like I said, strong in media entertainment, but I'm sort of so excited as to how AEC and manufacturing for product design, a lot of markets are starting to get their arms around it, which is super important as we move forward. So definitely start to pay attention to this. So I talked about connectors a few slides ago, and today the way companies do things, and here you can be testament to this, is there's a lot of import-export that goes on. Nothing wrong with it, it's just the way that most companies do it today. What we're trying to bring with Omniverse is this whole connector philosophy. And we have unidirectional and bidirectional. I would say Nirvana would be bidirectional. So in this slide, I'll pick out 2 applications. What does it mean? We, as NVIDIA Omniverse, we have an app that ships with the system, and it's called Create. Create is sort of a, not a modeling, but it's a design. You can reorientate 3D models, add some lighting and color, and start to make changes to it. What a bidirectional means is if I do an update in Max, I will see that also in Omniverse Create. If I then make a change in Create, I will see it updated back in Max. So that's perfect. Unidirectional, as the name says, You do it in one application, you can only see it in the other, but you can't update it to go both ways. Now, import-export, like I said, not every software partner works with Omniverse today, so this is still part of the story. But what we do is we're starting to do batch execution to do file transfer into USD to make it as seamless as possible and make it faster than what the traditional steps are in the industry today. This is a snapshot of where we are, but we're always moving forward. And this is an idea of where we're going. So you start to see a lot of things in beta. Beta can be used by anybody. It's just a supportability issue. Once we know that all these pieces of software that are in beta can be supported in a 24/7 environment, we will move that software into the enterprise. But this kind of shows you sort of what we're up to. I hope in 6 months to a year, I'll need 3 slides to show you all the connectors we have, because that's definitely what we're driving towards. This is another example of the multi-application use case that can't really happen today. So what you're seeing here, there's no video playing, but if there were, what you would see is you've got an Unreal user in the upper left corner, and they're starting to make some changes to what a model might be. And then in the middle, you've got a Substance user that's changing the scene of the wall. And then at the bottom, you've got somebody in Maya that's doing some modeling. Create, which is the Omniverse app on the right-hand side, whatever change is made in any of those other 3 windows, and it could be an individual user that's using all those 3 apps at the same time, or it could be a group of people in multiple locations. But Create's going to allow those changes to update in real time so that when you're using Omniverse, you're able to see all those changes happen instantaneously. That's the exciting part of what Omniverse can do from a multi-software application collaboration standpoint. It's a mouthful. But it's legitimate. You can't really do this today. What most folks do is they save off a file, email it to another person down the chain. They open it up and say, oh, well, it looks good, or no, change the color. You need to move this chair around. But in Omniverse, everything's happening in real time. As I said, Omniverse does ship with 2 applications. So the first one is Create. And we built this ourselves with Kit. It's a USD scene composition piece of software. You're able to bring models in from another package, bring it into Create, and start to apply AI and physics onto the scenes. You can start to really add on physically accurate materials, lighting, and so on and so forth. If you're a designer, you'll love this, and it's going to be very, very useful. Omniverse View, which is part of the reviewer subscription, is what it sounds like. It's to view a model. You might be a manager that you might not be comfortable with 3D tools, but you might need to be the final sign-off on what an object looks like or what the scene looks like. View lets you do that. And the good thing with View is that you could actually stream out with View to a laptop or a tablet, and then you can portal back in with whatever device you're on to see what the scene changes are. If you're design savvy, there's more and more things that View's going to take on that makes it a little bit more, not user-friendly, but capable, I would say. And just pay attention as this goes. Even non-technical users will be able to act like they really know what the 3D software is all about and start to make changes within Omniverse View. Farm was introduced not too long ago at one of our GPU technology conferences, and it's sort of a software that can harness multiple resources. What I mean by that is multiple GPUs that you might have within your infrastructure. Think of Farm as like an orchestration layer of software that can handle render jobs, but it can also handle batch execution of file conversion. So let's say you have a lot of step files or Alembic files that need to be converted to USD. Farm could be the orchestration layer that with a click of a button starts to get that done. We used it ourselves for GTC. We're a company that's all about eating our own dog food. So we use Farm to put all the materials together that you saw during the keynote, if you happen to watch that. If you haven't, please pay attention. Awesome information, but super exciting about when this hits the market, what it's capable of doing. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the use cases we're targeting for design, architecture, engineering, construction, media entertainment, and manufacturing and product design. That's what this conversation is going to be about. I will not get into digital twin. So first, this is sort of just if you're a customer or if you're a partner, this is sort of who we target within these accounts. And you can start to see some of the applications where the Omniverse apps might make sense. And again, from an NVIDIA standpoint, this is who we're looking for because we think we can make a difference on this chart for designers, visualization specialists, some of the project leaders, and the folks that interface with clients that have to do client presentations from an AEC standpoint. Obviously, that's something that has to happen very quickly, and it needs to be visually amazing when you're trying to go after design wins to win a bid. And this is something that we think is going to be super important to this industry. Now, again, from ourselves in just early conversations, this is sort of what we're sort of seeing the users are, and this is what we're hearing the challenges to be. So I'm going to leave it on here as I talk to it. I won't read the bullet points, but you guys can take a look at it. And this is what it's about. And again, the benefits not really coming from us, coming from users that have helped us to develop the product and move forward with the product. So this is something that's very, very important for us in a market that we think can fully take advantage of Omniverse. So you start to take a look at, as I said in the other slide with the Unreal and Maya and Substance, it's the same type of thing. Whether you're doing BIM Explorer, Rhino, you might be doing some IoT work for an indoor home, all of these things can start to be brought into the world of Omniverse and work together seamlessly. Also, like I said with Kit, if there is some 3D tools that might need to be developed because you as a customer have a specific requirement, that can also be done within the world of Omniverse. So now I'll jump to media entertainment, right? Same type of thing. This is the setup that when we talk to our customer base, we take a look at who should we target, who within your organizations might be the ones to start taking a look at this, and this is what you have here. Just have a sprinkling of some of the apps that are typically used, but again, this could be individual artists, it could be directors, client presentations, just like AEC, as well as technical directors that will be able to take advantage of Omniverse. Same type of thing when it comes to the personalities we're looking for within your companies. This is what it is, and we're hearing about the challenges. When you take a look at the right side, I've referenced GTC twice now, maybe this is the third time. We had the opportunity to have one of our customers, DNEG, speak at GTC. DNEG, if you've not heard of them as a visual effects organization, they just recently won an Oscar for visual effects this past Oscar nominations. But one of the quotes that they said when they presented at GTC was, this gives them the ability to see things in context. And when you look at these visuals, this is what I mean. No matter where you are, and this is applicable maybe in any industry, no matter where you are in the design pipeline, you could be trying to do this bear on the upper left, but you have no idea what the final shot needs to look like as it's finished and when it's produced and ready to go to the film or whatever. All you're really working with is the bear on the left. Wouldn't it be great if it doesn't impact you from a timeline standpoint, if you could see it with hair, fur, and all that? Same thing below. The robot on the left, I have no idea that I'm eventually going to get smoke and there's going to be lights that have to bounce off walls on the floor. But when I see what the end goal is, I see things in context. And we're so fast that render jobs for them that used to take overnight are now happening during a coffee break. On the bottom, Sony Pictures Animation, another customer that's been early on with Omniverse, and we're just super excited to see what they're going to be able to do with it. Another iteration of before with We Love Maya. It's used within Omniverse from Autodesk. Great application because we're not a modeler, they are. But when you do an offline play blast, you look like the bear does on the left. But with Omniverse, you can start to incorporate much more looks, and then we start to bring lighting into it, as I said on the last slide. This is what the pipeline is, and now you're able to see it at every stage of this asset creation. Same thing I said, I'm not going to go into it, but this is what I mean. You could see a play blast offline, or you can start looking at assets in real time as how they're going to have to look when the movie's produced or the film's done. This is what it needs to look like. So you better prep for it in the beginning so you get approval at the end. Now into manufacturing, from a product development standpoint, same type of thing as we don't do everything, right? I almost think that from a commercialization standpoint, from a marketing and presentation, we could probably have that be a little bit more green and a little bit more omniverse than what this slide indicates. But today, we're kind of really focused on concept ideation, and we really get into some of the product development before it gets to manufacturing. So same thing, a lot of the CAD packages that are used are able to be brought into Omniverse, so you're able to iterate on designs multiple times in a single day, and the creativity process is really accelerated with the benefit of Omniverse. So some examples of where within a product design situation might Omniverse be taken a look at. And it's the same thing, whether you're a remote worker and everybody's not back in the office, super great for collaboration. That full fidelity visualization that we talked about earlier, that's going to be big. And test without producing. Everything that's done today is built synthetically and digitally before it ever really needs to be manufactured. And that's the beauty of Omniverse. Physically accurate, photoreal, before you even have to start building any type of real-world model. You can get everything made sense of within this software stack. And like I did in the other markets, what we do is we take a look at what the personas are within the industry, who's taking advantage of this, and who should be able to take advantage of it. You see ideas and pictures from Volvo, Predator Cycle, early examples of customers that are taking advantage of this from a design standpoint, and super excited to carry it forward. So what do you need if you're going to be thinking about adopting NVIDIA Omniverse Enterprise? You do need RTX. RTX is our graphics technology that we brought to the market about 4 years ago with the last generation product that the architecture was known as Turing. Today, we're on our Ampere architecture. So if you made a graphics card update in the last 4 years, you might have the stuff ready to begin with Omniverse. And we can run it in a workstation or even a mobile workstation. HP has so many great offers and so many great options of what's certified to run Omniverse that you have no issue working with them and working with Z to get it going. If you want to move into a data center and you want to kind of get it off the desktop, but rack mount a workstation and move it into a server, that works as well. What you see on the right is something that we introduced called OVX, which is an architecture for the digital twin use case. And it's a multi-GPU 8-way, actually, that's really the prime reference that we would like customers who are getting into digital twins to begin with. I can see this being used more and more in rendering over time, but we came out as sort of a reference architecture for digital twin. So now, what do you as customers or partners, what do you need to worry about from a qualification standpoint? And this is what we're kind of worrying about, who we're selling to. So if you guys are one of these people, and this is a description of you or who you're calling on, this is who's ideal to really get involved with and what we do. As I said, the benefits below, I have real-world testimonial, so don't just believe print. Let's get a customer to kind of vouch for us as to what they're benefiting from within Omniverse. And these are some of the workflows that we talked about earlier. This is what you might need to do if you're really trying to hone in on 3D design collaboration. We talk about must-haves, and then we talk about nice-to-haves. I reference USD. Not everybody needs to really know what USD is to get beginning and get going with Omniverse, but it's definitely helpful to start to get up to speed on that as the ball rolls forward in this type of workload. Some questions that if you're just thinking, should it be for me or is this important to me? Just take a look at this. You might be able to get access to these questions. I will not read them off, but this is how we sort of validate, is somebody ready to try it? Are they ready to get into it? Because it's, you know, it's simple if you're a designer, but you know, you got to start to pay attention because you might be tweaking a current pipeline. Again, not flipping it upside down, but you might have to be open to making a little bit of change if you want to take full advantage of what this can do. And then for resellers or for Insight who hosted this, they think about like, what's in it for me? So if you're a partner of ours and you're thinking about it, this is pretty interesting what this brings forward. So all these are real world situations in various industries of not only did they move forward with Omniverse, but what they had to bring with them from a hardware standpoint. So this is a good slide for NVIDIA, but also a good slide for partners. And just a heads up from a customer standpoint, like I said, if you don't have RTX, you're not going to start your journey with Omniverse. So understand and be ready that if you're interested in moving forward on this, you could start to just make sure internally you have it ready. And if not, we do have some options for you to get started if you may not have made that investment in RTX yourselves. A little bit of licensing information as we kind of get towards wrapping this up. Again, what I think about is there's two ways to do it. There's a paid subscription, and with the paid subscription, HP, based on what you have in-house hardware-wise, they're running a promotion. I think it was Jesse mentioned it, but they have a 90-day trial. And the value of that, if you're using Teradici, you can also get access to that. If you're using, if you have the hardware, you're ready to go. But we will do this for 90 days. That's almost like a $6,000 value of software just to get started and test it for 90 days. That's going to be using Omniverse Enterprise. So you can start to get the IT organization ready. You can make sure that the security features are sort of put into the installation when you get going. Good stuff. We also have a free software, but I think as a corporation, if you're ready to move forward, you need to get buy-off from your enterprise group, your IT group. The IT software doesn't really have all the enterprise features, so you might want to start on the trial, the 90-day trial with HP on Omniverse Enterprise. Just a heads up on price. So this is, I talked about the various subscriptions and the apps that we do. If you're going to be doing create work, that's called the creator subscription. You see everything that it includes here. So you're going to get the ability to develop in Kit. That's part of it. Then we move to the reviewer subscription. That obviously includes view the application, and you get full support. And then the Nucleus subscription is what I said. That's sort of that's the data manager. It understands where the files and assets are throughout this whole collaboration process. Just as a heads up, this is the price of each subscription. The creative subscription is floating. So if you have 10 people, but they're in different time zones, you might only need 5 licenses. Same thing with the reviewer. They're floating. So based on how many people need to do review and approval, you may not need as many as you think. Nucleus, anybody that needs to keep track of a change would need this type of subscription. At the bottom, underneath the green, you see minimum initial purchase. To us, when you take a look at 2 creator subscriptions, 10 reviewer subscriptions, and 4 Nucleus subscriptions, we consider that a starter pack. So if you're trying to get your hands around what's my investment look like after the 90-day trial is over, this is what it looks like from a list price standpoint to really begin the journey with Omniverse. You know, as you're looking and you come out of this webinar, there's so much information out there on Omniverse, YouTube channels, tutorials, the GTC sessions, so much information. So definitely get in touch with HP, get in touch with NVIDIA. We're not at a loss of content to share with you to start to understand Omniverse a little bit better. From a next step standpoint, Michelle Price, figure this out, write this down, take a picture, because she's a great point of contact to help you out on what's the 90-day eval, how do I get access to that, what do I need? Make sure you know who she is, because she's going to help out in a big way as we move forward. Okay? And then again, same type of thing. This is what we're focused on. This is what it's all about. The 30-day trial here, that's an NVIDIA one, but if it were me, I wouldn't even worry about the NVIDIA 30-day. I would go to HP and get 90 days because you're probably going to need more than 30 to figure this out internally. So definitely with what HP is offering, along with Teradici, take full advantage of that if you're thinking that you're ready to move forward. That is, believe it or not, that is my last slide. I am done.
All right, thanks for that, Michael. It was good presentation. Hopefully everybody, now you have a clear understanding of what NVIDIA can do for you. Paul also went over, CAS Manager, and so now you're clear on what that'll do. So this exclusive offer, as Michael mentioned, there's a 3-month software trial, and all that you really require is to already have HP hardware. So if you have HP hardware that has these meets these minimum GPU requirements, you're good to go, and you can try it out, make sure it works for you, and get going. And really work with your Insight representative to help you get up and going. They're well in tune with what we offer and the requirements of this offer as well. And then just to kind of expand on the minimum requirements, these are the recommended platforms and the minimum configurations. It is possible to, do some very light work with, an RTX 3000, but we really want you to have a really good experience. So we recommend to have the RTX A4000 at a minimum, and CPU, 8 cores or greater, memory 32 gigabytes or greater. And these are really the minimum configurations. So, talk to your Insight representative and understand what's necessary for your particular workflows. As you get up into some heavier workflows, then you'll require, in some cases, multiple GPUs for your workstation. With that, that's all we really have for you today. We hope this was helpful and gets you on your way. We appreciate you joining us, and good luck with your adventure on as you try out Omniverse and Teradici.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone.